Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're diving into some of the most significant and defining moments of World War II. These were battles that not only shaped the outcome of the war, but changed the course of history forever. From massive land battles to intense air and sea conflicts, these 5 battles stand out as true turning points. So let's jump into it and take a closer look at the top 5 battles of World War II. 5. The Battle of Midway, June 4th to 7th, 1942. At number 5, we have the Battle of Midway, a pivotal naval clash fought in the Pacific Theater just 6 months after Japan's attack on Pearl Harbor. The Japanese had plans to invade Midway Island to expand their empire, but thanks to an incredible intelligence breakthrough, the US Navy was able to set a trap. The Japanese had been confident of their dominance in the Pacific, but this battle would prove to be a rude awakening. Through the use of cryptography, the US Navy had cracked Japan's naval codes and knew the Japanese were planning an attack on Midway. This allowed them to prepare in advance and strategically place their forces in the path of the Japanese fleet. The result? A crushing blow to Japan's naval fleet. 4 Japanese aircraft carriers were sunk, including the Akagi, Kaga, Soryu, and Hiryu, while the US lost just the USS Yorktown. This victory was a turning point in the Pacific War, as the Japanese lost their advantage in naval power. After Midway, the United States took a more aggressive stance in the Pacific, beginning a campaign of island hopping that would eventually bring them closer to Japan's doorstep. Midway marked the beginning of the end for Japan's expansion, and it proved that intelligence, strategy, and a bit of luck could overcome even the most formidable foes. 4. The Battle of Stalingrad, August 23rd, 1942, February 2nd, 1943. At number 4, we have the Battle of Stalingrad, one of the bloodiest and most intense confrontations of the entire war. Fought from August 23, 1942 to February 2, 1943, this battle saw the German army's attempt to capture the city of Stalingrad, located in southern Russia, a key industrial center and a symbolic target due to its name, Stalin's City. The Germans were hoping to break Soviet morale and secure the oil fields of the Caucasus, but what they encountered was far more than they bargained for. The Germans initially made significant advances, but the Soviet defense was unyielding. The battle quickly devolved into a brutal urban conflict, with both sides fighting for every building, every block, and every street. The city was nearly destroyed, but the Soviet forces held their ground, and eventually the Red Army launched a counteroffensive that encircled the German 6th Army. By February 1943, the German forces were forced to surrender, with over 300,000 Axis troops either killed or captured. This battle was a major turning point on the Eastern Front, as it marked the beginning of a series of Soviet offensives that would push the Germans back toward Berlin. Stalingrad's fall was the first major defeat of Nazi Germany, and it dealt a massive blow to their fighting ability. The Battle of Stalingrad was not only a military defeat for the Germans, but also a psychological one, as it shattered the myth of invincibility that Hitler's army had built up. It demonstrated the determination and resilience of the Soviet people, who fought tooth and nail to protect their homeland. 3. D-Day, the Battle of Normandy, June 6th, August 1944. Coming in at number 3, we have D-Day, the Battle of Normandy. On June 6, 1944, the Allied forces launched Operation Overlord, a massive amphibious invasion of Nazi-occupied France. The operation began with the historic landings on the beaches of Normandy, and it marked the beginning of the liberation of Western Europe from Nazi occupation. The landings were perilous. On D-Day alone, more than 4,000 Allied soldiers were killed, including over 2,000 Americans on Omaha Beach. Despite these heavy losses, the Allies managed to secure a foothold in France, and over the next few weeks, reinforcements and supplies poured in. The Germans, despite their efforts to push the Allies back, were unable to prevent the establishment of a full Allied presence on the continent. By the end of August, the Allies had liberated Paris, and the German forces in France were on the defensive. The success of D-Day was crucial not only for its military impact, but also for its symbolic significance. It signaled to the world that the tide had definitively turned against Nazi Germany. The Allies were on the offensive, and liberation was within reach. 2. The Battle of El Alamein, October 23rd, November 11th, 1942. At number 2, we have the Battle of El Alamein, fought in the harsh deserts of North Africa. In late 1942, the Axis powers, led by General Ersin Rommel, were threatening to capture the Suez Canal and seize the Middle East's vital oil resources. The British 8th Army, commanded by General Bernard Montgomery, faced off against Rommel's Africa Corps in a battle that would determine control over the region. Rommel, known as the Desert Fox, had been pushing westward across North Africa with remarkable speed, but the British were determined to stop him at El Alamein, a narrow pass in Egypt that controlled the vital route to the Suez Canal. After months of skirmishes and stalemate, Montgomery launched a decisive offensive on October 23, 1942. The result was a crushing defeat for the Axis forces. The victory at El Alamein, coupled with the US invasion of North Africa in Operation Torch, forced the Axis powers to retreat from the continent entirely. The loss of North Africa was a major blow to Hitler's plans, and it allowed the Allies to gain control of key Mediterranean ports, setting the stage for the invasion of Italy. 1. The Battle of the Bulge, December 16, 1944, January 25, 1945. And finally, at number 1, we have the Battle of the Bulge, the last major German offensive on the Western Front. In the freezing winter of 1944, Adolf Hitler launched a surprise attack through the Ardennes forest, hoping to split the Allied forces and recapture the strategic Belgian port of Antwerp. The Germans caught the Allies off guard, creating a bulge in the lines and pushing deep into Belgium. The battle was fierce and desperate as the weather, difficult terrain, and a lack of supplies made it a brutal struggle for both sides. However, the Allies, led by American forces under General Dwight D. Eisenhower, managed to rally and encircle the German forces. The Battle of the Bulge ended in a decisive Allied victory, but it came at a high cost. The Allies suffered over 185,000 casualties, including over 19,000 dead, but the Germans were left crippled with more than 100,000 soldiers lost. Hitler's final gamble had failed, and it hastened the collapse of Nazi Germany. Though costly, the Battle of the Bulge was the last major offensive launched by Germany on the Western Front. It marked the beginning of the end for the Third Reich, and within months, Berlin would fall to the Soviet army, and Germany would surrender. There you have it. These 5 battles weren't just important military engagements, they were the defining moments that helped decide the fate of the world during World War II. Each one of these battles took an enormous toll, but they also showed the resilience and determination of those who fought. These battles not only altered the course of the war, but also shaped the post-war world that we live in today. Let us know in the comments which battle you think had the most impact, or if we missed any of your favorite World War II battles. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more history content. Until next time, stay curious.